So today's video is going to be all about how I prepare to go outside as a disabled person. Now I know that's kind of like a weird thing to talk about, but for me as a disabled person and a chronically ill person, it's quite difficult to go outside and I need to really prepare for it. So yeah, I thought I would make a video about that. I have some like events coming up and I have gone to some like events in like the past few weeks because it's summer. So because of that, like I go outside more often and there's more stuff going on, like again events like concerts, pride parades, like pride events in general. And yeah, I thought I would just talk about how I prepare for those events and how I prepare to go outside in general if I'm just like going shopping with my dad or something. So yeah, I thought I would talk about that today. I know it's a bit of a weird subject, but I thought it would be interesting, and I thought it might also be helpful to disabled people and chronically ill people who are struggling to, prepare for stuff like this. Because I know that when I first got like, more disabled than I already was, I struggled a lot with how I was supposed to prepare myself to go outside and to prepare for like what kind of pain I was going to be in. What do I need to take with me? Like, do I need to take pain medication, stuff like that. So yeah, I thought it would be interesting to make a video like this. I hope you guys like it. So yeah, let's just get into this video, I guess. I have categorized this in basically like 3 sections: standing, walking, and sitting. Basically like an event or a day where I have to stand a lot, an event or a day where I have to sit a lot, or again, an event or a day where I have to walk a lot, and how I prepare for each of those, because the process is a little bit different, or the stuff that I take with me is a bit different. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoy this. I know it's not like my typical like book video, but yeah, I wanted to make this. So yeah, so I'm gonna start with sitting. So a event or a day where I sit a lot would be like a concert or something similar to that, because I'm actually going to something resembling a concert like next week. So I basically like made this video with in mind the fact that like I am still like new to like, preparing for these types of events, especially like sitting, because I am someone who really like dreaded sitting for an extended amount of time because I got really injured from going to a concert. Like I literally got like 3 hernias in my back from sitting for too long at a concert. And yeah, so stuff like this makes me really nervous. Like I'm glad that I'm gonna go to this event. Again, it's not a concert, but it's also not like a theater play or something like that. It's like a mixture of the two. So I don't really know what to call it, so I'm just gonna call it like an event. But yeah, I'm still like new to preparing for stuff like this. But basically the first thing that I'm gonna like mention in each of these like categories is like my outfit. That might seem like a bit weird, but I promise it actually matters. To me, for like an event where I'm gonna sit a lot, I need something that doesn't have like a lot of restriction on my legs, because then I'm gonna have a lot more pain. I'm gonna have like really bad like blood circulation in my legs. And yeah, just overall it's not a good idea to wear something that is very restrictive on my legs. So I usually don't wear pants. I wear like a skirt, and then for my upper body I usually choose something that is tighter around my waist and gives me like a lot of back support, because if you can't tell yet, I am sitting for this video and for every single video I've ever made, and it's really difficult for me to sit up straight. Like I'm sitting right now without support because there's no support behind my back and I'm not wearing something tight, and it's very difficult for me to keep sitting up straight. So yeah, when I go to an event where I have to sit a lot, I wear something that is a bit more like tight around my waist so that it gives me like a bit of support. And that's basically it for like an outfit, like something that isn't restrictive on my legs but is restrictive on like an area where I need support. And I would recommend that to everyone. Obviously it might not be the same for you, like maybe when you're sitting you need support on your legs, but for me it's my back that needs support. So yeah, then I also apply pain medication directly on my back, because again, when I'm sitting for long periods of time, that's usually the part of my body that's gonna hurt the most. I went to a concert in April, and while I had like a lot of fun at the concert, I was also struggling the entire time, because I felt like throughout the concert I just kept leaning over like more and more, to the point where I was almost like laying like on my cane, because I have a walking stick. You can see one of them behind me. I don't use that one a lot because it's not as pretty as the other ones I have, but I was basically leaning on my walking stick like the entire time, and I'm sure it must have looked like absolutely ridiculous, but that's how it works for me. Like my body just can't sit up straight for long periods of time, and I also can't really use like a backrest because if I lean back it also hurts. So yeah, my body's an absolute mess, but basically I put pain medication directly on my back in like the form of like a lotion that has like pain medication in it, and then I obviously also take some pain medication with me. I'm gonna get into that later in this video, like what I take with me just regularly, like everywhere. But yeah, another thing that I also just mentioned is the fact that I take my cane with me. That is for now the only mobility aid that I have. I wish I had more. I wish I had like a wheelchair or a rollator, but I don't. But I will mention those in the other two because for sitting I would still use my cane even if I had a rollator or a wheelchair or both. I would still use my cane just because for me it's more practical. And at the concert that I went to in April, I noticed that if someone had a rollator or a wheelchair, they would be forced to sit in it during the entire concert. And if I sat in like a rollator, like a wheelchair, if it's a proper one, maybe I'll be able to sit in it for the entire concert. But sitting on a rollator for the entire concert, like that's no, that's not gonna work. So yeah, even if I had a rollator or a wheelchair or both, I would still probably choose to use my cane for a day where I have to sit a lot. So yeah, let's just move on to the next one. The next category is standing. Now for standing, my type of shoes and my type of socks also matter. For sitting, it really doesn't. Like I can wear any shoes I want as long as I can walk to the venue wherever I'm gonna be sitting. Like I'm gonna be fine with no matter what shoes I'm wearing because with sitting it doesn't really matter too much. Whereas with standing, I have to wear shoes that are very soft and have good like foot support. And I also have to wear like thick socks usually because again, what matters with standing is how soft the shoes are. With walking, I'm going to get into that after this category. It's not necessarily the softness that matters, but like the support. With standing, it's the softness more than the support because again, I'm going to have to stand in like one spot for an extended amount of time and that's not going to be fun. So yeah, the softness really matters and like good like thick socks matter as well. Now obviously an event where I'm going to stand a lot, that hasn't happened to me a lot. It only happened recently where I went to a pride parade for the first time since I became more disabled and since I started having like trouble walking. And yeah, it was extremely painful to say the least. Like it was not fun. Like I had fun watching the parade mostly and I got like a lot of free stuff, which is always good, but like I was in a lot of pain from standing. So yeah, that's basically what I mean with an event where I'm gonna stand, like a pride parade or something similar to that. And yeah, again, the shoes matter, the socks matter, and the clothes matter as well. I'm gonna need something that has, again, support on my back because my back will also be hurting from standing in one position. But my knees will also probably hurt a lot. My feet will also hurt a lot. So I would probably apply like pain medication on my back and on my feet mainly. Like I'm not someone who likes using too much of that pain medication in the form of a lotion because it can make me very nauseous. And I'm already like nauseous to begin with just on a daily basis. Like I have been extremely nauseous the past few days. And yeah, I'm basically nauseous. Sorry if you can hear like something flying against my window. I think it was some kind of like insect, but yeah. Basically, I'm kind of hesitant to apply like pain medication on like multiple parts of my body, so I usually pick two. And so for standing, that would be my feet and my back, because those would be the parts that hurt the most. And yeah, if I had another mobility aid other than my walking stick, I would use a, sorry if you can hear my cat like using like a scratching board. I'm pretty sure you can hear that because it's being very loud. But yeah, if I had any other mobility aid other than a cane, I would use a wheelchair for these type of events, just because I am going to be like, you know, standing a lot, so sitting would be easier. Again, not great still, because like I just mentioned, I'm in pain when I sit as well, but at least I will be in a bit less pain, I'm assuming. And I could always like stand up for a little bit and then sit down and then stand up again. So yeah, I would use a wheelchair for these type of events. I don't have one obviously, so I use a cane, but yeah, if I had one, I would use a wheelchair for this. So yeah, let's just move on to the last one, which is walking. So yeah, now for a day where I am going to be walking a lot, like I already said earlier, I would be wearing shoes that have a lot of support and softness, because again, my feet are going to hurt from walking, but they're not the most painful part of my body usually when I'm walking. You see how like with every single category my pain switches to a different part? Like with sitting, it's my back mainly, with standing, it's my feet mainly, and with walking, it's my hips mainly. So yeah, it switches basically when I walk. It's also like my knees and my hips usually. Like it's usually my knees, my hips, and my ankles, but like that's a bit too much, and I can't put, again, like the lotion with like pain medication, I can't put that on all three because then I'm probably going to start vomiting in public. So let's not do that. But usually I just put pain medication on my knees and on my hips. Now for my outfit, I didn't mention it for the section where I talked about standing, but that doesn't really matter too much. Again, only really like the shoes matter when it comes to standing. Whereas with walking, I would need usually like an outfit that has a lot of like support on my legs. So the opposite of sitting basically, where I don't want support on my legs at all. With walking, I do need it because like I said, my hips and my knees hurt a lot when I walk, and my hips can also like dislocate as I'm walking. And so something that has more support on my hips is usually ideal. And usually a skirt doesn't work for that unless it's like really tight and like stiff material. So yeah, I usually don't opt for like a skirt when I'm gonna be walking a lot, which is sad because I really enjoy wearing skirts, but I can't really do that if I know I'm gonna be walking a lot. And if I had a mobility aid other than my walking stick, I would use a rollator for this. I think it would be the best kind of mobility aid for me when I'm walking because I can walk by just holding on to it, and if I become tired or if I'm in a lot of pain, I can just sit down. And if I then still need help, my dad could even like push me on the rollator, just in a weird direction, but he could still do it. So like I feel like it would be the best mobility aid. Again, I don't have a wheelchair or a rollator, I just have my walking sticks, but for now that's all I can afford. Like I'm trying to save up right now for a wheelchair or a rollator or both, because there's like a company that makes both in one. Like it's a wheelchair and like you can fold it into a rollator, and that's very cool, and I feel like it would come in very handy for me, but it's very expensive and I'm not rich, so yeah. Now as for stuff that I always take with me when I go to these types of events where I'm going to be, again, sitting, standing, or walking, I always take like specific stuff with me, usually like extra pain medication. I will take like a small bottle of water to take the medication and to like hydrate myself. I will take like something small to eat usually, like very small, like something that just will give me like a bit of energy. And then I usually also take anti-nausea medication with me because I take pain medication with me, obviously. Now something that is also really important when I go to these types of events like concerts, pride parades, or something similar is I look up like the venue beforehand and how accessible is it, like where is the accessible entrance, am I allowed to use it as someone who doesn't use like a wheelchair, am I allowed to just go there with my walking stick. I usually have to call to like inform myself on that, which is very nerve-wracking, and I used to always make my dad do it, but nowadays I've been trying to do it because I feel like they believe me more than they believe my dad. Because if my dad says like, oh, my daughter uses a walking stick, she can't like go up these stairs, like they usually just go, oh, she can, like just make her do it anyways. Whereas if I do like the whole conversation on the phone explaining why stairs are hard for me and why I would need to go through the like accessible entrance and why I would need to maybe like sit even on like the wheelchair accessible like seats or something like that, because that's usually what I try to do. I try to get like a spot in the wheelchair section. I don't take like one of the spots from like people who need wheelchairs because I feel like I'm taking a spot then from someone who needs it more than I do. But I usually ask for one of the like extra seats, like the seats that are usually like made for people who use wheelchairs and they bring like an extra person with them, and that's where the person will sit. And I usually will ask for that kind of seat so that I don't take the like fully like wheelchair seats in the venue, because again there's only like a couple and I don't want to take it because I'm not using a wheelchair. So if I could just sit near those seats, because that's usually the most accessible place in the whole venue, if I could just sit near that, that would be like a big help. Like that's usually how I say it. Like if I could just sit near that section, that would be great, so that I don't have to, you know, do any stairs or anything like that, and I don't have to walk too far, like stuff like that. So yeah, that's usually what I ask for. And again, I used to be very uncomfortable doing that, but I've gotten better at that recently. Like I said, I'm going to like a concert theater thing. My cat is using his litter box, hold on. So I'm back and I'm in more pain now because I obviously had to take care of my cat in his litter box. Luckily enough, he didn't do too much in his litter box, if you know what I mean, but yeah, it was still painful. But I'm back, and I also noticed as I, you know, turned the camera off while I was taking care of my cat, that the screen when I'm recording looks different. Like it has like a weird timer on it, and I hope it is filmed properly, because otherwise I'm gonna be kind of pissed off. Because honestly, I was kind of on a roll in this video. Like I'm quite comfortable talking to the camera today, which is weird because usually I'm not. But yeah, anyway, let's get back to the topic at hand, which is I'm going to like a concert slash like theater thing next week, and I'm basically quite proud of myself for contacting the venue myself and like asking to sit in either like the wheelchair section or somewhere near it. And we basically discussed it, and it would be best if I sat somewhere near it, because the wheelchair seats, they don't have like a designated spot for the extra person that you can take with you if you are in a wheelchair or if you are in that spot. So yeah, I'm sitting somewhere like near it, which I hope it doesn't have any like steps, because I asked the person specifically, like it does not have any steps, right? Because that venue, it doesn't have like any like hand railing. It's just like steps to go down and like no hand railing, and I cannot do those steps. Like I will fall to the floor. Like I cannot do it. I can literally not do those steps without someone helping me. So I asked like 4 times, like it does not have any steps, right? Like none, like not a single one. And she was like, no, it doesn't have any. So hopefully it will not, because I asked that also for the concert that I went to in April, and they put me in like the, you know, spots for like the extra person for someone with a wheelchair. And I specifically asked to go to that spot, you don't have to walk up any steps, right? And they were like, no, you don't have to go up any steps. I go to the venue, they point towards my seat, you have to go up like 3 steps. And there's no hand railing, and I'm just like, yeah, I can't do that. And the guy just looked at me and he was like, what do you mean? And I was like, I can't do those steps. It doesn't have a hand railing. How am I supposed to pull myself up? Like I don't have that amount of strength in my legs to pull myself up like that. I can't put full weight on one leg. Like that's just impossible. And so they literally had to put me in one of the wheelchair spots. Luckily enough, there were like multiple left over. Like they were empty. So I could just sit in one of those. Because the wheelchair spots, they were basically just like seats at the very front, and people would put their wheelchairs in front of those seats, and I would just sit on the seat. So yeah, it probably looked very weird from like the outside perspective, like just everyone sitting in their wheelchairs, and then there was just like me in the middle, just, you know, vibing on the seat. But yeah, it was a bit of a mess, so hopefully next week won't be a mess. Because again, I asked like 4 times, like, are you sure there's no stairs, no steps, not even a single one, because I cannot do it without assistance. And I'm gonna need to grab one of the staff members and literally make him like basically carry me down those steps, because I cannot do them if there's no hand railing. Like it's impossible. And yeah, again, she said there were none, but again, they said it at the other venue as well, and there were 3. So I think my definition of no steps is a bit different than theirs, but hopefully this time it will be fine. So yeah, that was basically like the end of this video. Like I just wanted to talk about, you know, how I prepare for these things, and that like contacting a venue to see like what kind of accessibility they have is like a very scary thing often, but it's a good thing, and it will come in handy even if, you know, they don't always listen to what you say, and then you have to, you know, basically argue with them at the venue. But it's fine. Like usually they're quite kind, or at least to me they were kind. Like they could tell that I genuinely meant it when I said I couldn't go up those steps. So yeah, it's a bit scary, all of it, you know, being disabled, being chronically ill, and going outside, and like going outside of your comfort zone. But it is usually worth it, even if you have, you know, immense pain flares afterwards. So yeah, that was my cat like sprinting all of a sudden. So I was about to end this video, but he decided to do that. So yeah, like I said, I was gonna end this video before my cat decided to do that. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I know that I probably look like a bit awful because I tried to do something different with my makeup and I don't think it worked. And I don't know if you can see it, but there's like a fan in the back and it looks kind of ugly, but there's currently like a heat wave going on, like a really intense one. So I can't exactly not have it, and I can't move it out of frame because it's too heavy for me to move. So yeah, I hope that wasn't too annoying or ugly to look at. I hope I wasn't too annoying or ugly to look at. And yeah, thank you for watching, and bye.